Welcome guys, Brendan here from Terminated Gaming, and once again we're back on World of Warships with another replay. This time again, following a week off of the last Alaska video, we have the Alaska again. I played the Alaska a lot more recently now, due to some of the missions for Halsey, making sure you gotta get top of the team in your American cruisers, and yada yada yada. So the Alaska I felt was the best cruiser in my arsenal to do so. I mean, I had Des Moines and Worcester, and you'll see a game in one of those coming up not too long, or in the next couple weeks, so stay tuned for that. Anyways, if you haven't seen the I Am Battlecruiser Alaska video, that will be in the playlist listed up above. I recommend going and check that out, because the Alaska is a very nice Tier 9 American large cruiser, because the Americans don't like to use the word battlecruiser apparently in their retinue. The Alaska was considered a large cruiser in its history, not a battlecruiser. And it was actually a ship that did exist. Very impractical for what it was originally designed for, because the ships it was designed to face never existed or were destroyed by the point of Alaska's completion. So Alaska has 9 12-inch guns. Each one of these in game can fire, I believe, every 16 seconds is what my build has. This is not a full 21-point captain. It's like 20 or 16 points at this point. And by this point in me playing Alaska, I had switched from defensive fire to hydro, because I felt like it would be a little bit more practical, because as you can see, there's no CV in this game. So that really comes to help out in this one as well. This is a very interesting match. If you've noticed the chat, if not, don't worry about it. My teammate is one of my clanmates in his rune, and we've been having a really bad set of games before this. And he just pinged the Fletcher, because he wanted to make sure the Fletcher knew that he still needed to go into the middle of the map and contest the cap, because as you've noticed now, the enemy team has capped every single ring of the epicenter. And he's been calling out the runes like, oh, well, don't play the rune like the stereotypical rune, which is usually kiting away, because that's what the rune's best at. He doesn't want him to play like that. And I step up to the defense of my teammate, and I was like, how about you just let him play it the way he wants? And then I said, alright, Admiral Nimitz, you lead the charge then. And one of the other guys says, focus on your own ship and focus fire. I'm like, yeah, that's what everyone should do. And then he still is talking. He's like, you sound like one of those team parasite types who hates to be criticized. It's like, well, I'm not even the one being criticized. But I hate people that are trying to tell people how to play their ships at the start of a match. It's like, no. Just play your ship. Let them play it how they want to play it. Going back to ourselves, we get 11,000 damage off on that Neptune. Wasn't a great salvo, but I mean, we did get the Citadel. It wasn't a great salvo on my part. I could have aimed a little bit better and got probably a little bit more damage. But live and let learn. Again, you're going to see me using a lot of AP. A lot of people will use HE at the start of matches with their Alaskas and play a little bit more passively. There is nothing wrong with that. I like to use the AP because it's an American AP, so it should be doing well at this mid to close range like I like to engage. I probably do a lot better if I played like all the rest of the people that play the Alaska, though, but you know, that's not my playstyle. This Neptune, he's getting really messed up by our team here behind us, and I was like, oh, maybe I can back up, and it's like they're probably not going to need my help against him. He's got other problems. He went to the center of the map. I think he's already burnt his smoke. He's made a poor decision, but at least he looks like he's getting away with it right now, because he's barely being spotted. I pop my hydro because I'm lit here, and he gets knocked out by the Chung Moo's torpedoes, and then that rune just gets away from the torpedo. I don't hit him for very much. I hit him for 48. He was turning outwards. I hit him with 4 shells though, so he made that maneuver after I'd fired, but I think I overestimated his speed there. It was my original problem. I'm still firing AP. Probably HE would have did better, but I didn't even hit him anyways, so it wouldn't have really made a difference. I'm still at a dead stop here, and don't think I take the blind shot there. It wasn't really worth it. I have AP loaded again, and there's a Jutland. I fired AP at the Jutland. You might as well fire it if you got loaded. And I keep the AP loaded because most of them I'm going to face armored targets more than that destroyer. And I didn't figure I was going to hit the destroyer either because the rock was going to get in the way. So starting to speed back up again. Move to try to get some shots on other targets. We did manage to capture the middle ring back. And we're up on points because we've killed 3 enemy ships. Got their enemy Georgia, the Neptune, and the Yugumo, which at least we got the dangerous Yugumo out of the game. I mean, of course, the other 2 are dangerous as well in their own right. So AP against Broadside Iowa couldn't have a better angle. Hopefully this AP does something spectacular. I would really hope. As overpens, I aimed a little too high. Not really estimating the proper angle of him. Of course, this is American AP, so it does get better pen angles. So this angle that the Iowa is at now, this still would be a decent shot, and that was better than the first one. You know, we got 8 out of 9 hits, 2 overpens, and 6 pens for 13k on the side of that Iowa. The Iowa's gonna go down to somebody else. We lose our Z46. The Z46 was trying to play the middle of the ring and wasn't going well. James is also in his rune in there trying to contest the middle. That's not going to go well for him. Rune's not really designed for pushing. It's more designed for kiting away from targets. We put a salvo out on that Jean Bar. Not amazing. I aimed a little too far back, underestimating his speed again. We can see that he's using his engine boost because of the dark black smoke following him. I decided to shoot at that FDG in the back more because he's presenting a better target with my AP. And once again, I don't believe that's a very good salvo. Yeah, a little bit behind him. But we get 5 out of 9 hits, 4 pens for about 8k. You know, it's a consistent AP damage, whereas with the HE, I'd probably be doing more to him. Of course, Admiral Nimitz and his Fletcher up there is got a little too close to that Jean Bar, but he's going to get away with it because his torps are going... it's an Alsace? Yeah, sorry, it's an Alsace. He's got a little too close to that Alsace, but he's going to get away with it because the Alsace is just going to run into a whole bunch of his torps. And we do another about 8k to the FDG, and the Alsace, I think, is flooding and burning, so yeah, he gets that off of a flood. So, congratulations, you earned yourself a report for being rude in chat. There's one thing if it is a bad player, I understand your frustration, but don't call them out in battle. That's not something to... It's like you can keep that to yourself. The game's already frustrating enough for a lot of players, and there's no reason to call them out. It's like, play your ship, they'll play their ship. If they're the reason you lose, so be it. It's not something to keep in the game. We do switch over to HE. I do get a fire on the FDG on the first salvo there. He puts it out immediately. And if you didn't notice too, Admiral Nimitz, yeah, that's not his name, but that's what I'm calling him. I call anybody that thinks that they know everything in the game Admiral Nimitz. He says in chat, ooh, 2 kills, 2 more than what the rune will do. And it's like, well, yeah, but you also sacrificed your life for those 2 kills, whereas all the rest of us are still alive and actually having to do your job because he didn't cap the interior ring. Granted, that's all of our DDs. I think only one of our DDs tried to go and contest the middle, but he was up against all the other enemy DDs that went and actually did that and played the middle of the ring. We get our first kill there against the FDG for 78,000 damage now and 1 kill. And I joke with this guy I just bumped here, this Missouri. I was like, love tap. Because I could have avoided that, but I went a little too hard on the turn. So here I'm trying to support against the DD first. So I get the HE out. I have it loaded, thankfully this time. And we get 2 hits on a fire, so it's going to burn his damage count if somebody wants to land another fire hit on him. And I'm going to try to fire, but I fire in a... like, looking back at it even now, too, it's like that wasn't a great place to put those shells. Because the Shotland can also do that British speed up and slow down. Or at least a speed up. And so he can get away with that. James gets caught out by some torpedoes here. He popped his hydro a little late. and the Venom launched a whole bunch of torpedoes at him. There was no dodging those unless he had that Hydra up sooner. So, unfortunately for him, he goes down in that situation. And so now we're coming around this corner, and the Lion's going to be the next thing that we're able to shoot at. The Lion is reversing. This is where having torpedoes is really nice. Not necessarily to launch torpedoes at the Lion. We get a fire on him too. Is that when somebody's reversing or going forward, the torpedoes can tell you that. Granted, there are modifications that you can use for that, but I don't really believe that one's fair. But if it's fair in Wargaming's eyes, then I'm not going to comment. But you can use torpedoes to get the same effect. If you have torpedoes, you can see which direction they are sailing, if they're stationary, speeding up, or slowing down. So it gives you a decent amount of information. I popped my hydroacoustic search here because I don't know where any of the enemy DDs... Well, I do know where the enemy DDs are, but I want to know where their torpedoes are. And there they are. But thankfully, I'd already thought about slowing down, so I'm not going to eat any of these torpedoes, thankfully. There's also another DD in front of us, so we could have got cross-torp there if we weren't being so proactive about trying to dodge torpedoes. Speaking of more torpedoes, here's another set from that Z46. Instead of shooting at targets that were lit, I decided to try to take a speculative spread shot into that smoke screen to see if I could deal with the DDs, because the DDs were the biggest threat in the situation that we were in. Take HE salvo against that rune. I believe that's the same rune that we shot at the beginning of the match. No fire. I popped my radar because I figured I was close enough to that smoke screen. But also looking back at it, I wasn't actually close enough. I take a real quick snapshot against that DD that was in the smoke, and I actually do land a hit. So, get to see him for a split second is just long enough to get him. We have a Lion here in front of us on low health, so it's like, okay, we need to get him out, because otherwise he's got my broadside. He uses his dry dock heal right here, and I was like, oh, shoot, he's loaded AP, because he's British. I thought he had HE loaded. That's on me, but thankfully we didn't get deleted for it. But I kept my HE loaded here, because he's not giving us a favorable angle, and it's easier just to burn him down if I can get a whole bunch of fires going. I get to the outside ring to contest it. They are capping our mid ring, but we are capping the center ring right now. And we are going to cap the center. And I'm going to just continue to try to do some consistent damage with the HE from the front guns here. So I'm not going to give him any favorable shots on me. I'm also trying to get myself in a position so that rune doesn't hit me as much. And so HE out. Haven't really got any fires yet, but we're just doing consistent damage. The rest of the team's helping out here. He takes out one of our gun turrets here, so I fixed that because I figured I need to have that gun ready to go. And so we're going to be spreading our shells around now between two turrets that are firing at about 7 seconds apart from each other-ish. He switched to the HE instead of the AP, even though he was doing consistent damage with the AP, but I figure he realized I used my damage con there, and he's trying to set a fire now, because that will be devastating to me. I take a decent hit from a rune to the side. Here it's just now we need to finish this Lion off, so I swing the rear turret around just to get that extra gun off. I was hoping to beat his gunfire back, but he does get a fire on us. Unfortunate, but hey, things happen. So we're up to 109,000, almost 110,000 damage, and 2 kills. And all that's left on the enemy team is a low health Venom, the Z46, a pretty decently damaged Rune, and the Ibuki. And at the time I say that, the Venom has been lit, and he's on 377 health. So he, unfortunately, our Kitakaze died to the Ibuki, but not before he had shells out in the air against against the enemy Venom. So he gets the enemy Venom right there, and then. So now it's a matter of cleaning up. If we can capture all the points, I don't even think we can still win on points, but I think actually we could. The rune gets spotted here. If the enemy team was playing a little bit... actually, I don't even know if it's in the smartest interest. I think they actually have to kill that Missouri. If they kill that Missouri, I think they might have enough points advantage for us to have to chase them down. So I'm going to continue to fire at that rune. I switched over to AP from HE, and that rune's sailing away. So, and I also poorly aimed that, figuring he was going to continue slightly to the right, but he straightened out, and so I missed entirely on that rune, and that's all on me. The reticle's not quite in line there, but I had it right in front of him. The rune's going to fire HE back. Thankfully, I held my damage con instead of putting out that fire. Just let the fire burn. So now if he does set me on fire, I am in a okay condition. Or if that Z46 got torps on me, I'm also in an okay condition. I'm trying to push up here because that Missouri's in a bad way, and I don't want him to get torped by that Z46, so I want to be able to provide him with hydro if I can. But here I finally choose to switch over to HE after that AP shot against that rune. And we land on one more shot again against him. And then the Buki comes up. And I pop my hydro now, in case that Z46 is close. But that Z46 is actually going to start running soon. And at this point in the match, we do actually have to kill them in order to win. That Ibuki gets a nice salvo against me. He switches over to the Missouri after immediately shooting at me, which I believe was a smart choice in retrospect, because he thought that I was going to continue to burn. But our return salvo is just as devastating. 8 hits, 2 fires, gives us our Confederate 128,648, or 684. And he puts out those fires, obviously, but I had the AP loaded because he's at a decent angle. And we get 2 Citadels is all we needed to kill him. And now we're up to 141,652 damage and 3 kills. We're going to capture this mid-ring of the epicenter here. I get one more salvo off against that Z46 before he disappeared. Our Missouri is very low health at this point. And we could win on points now. But if they kill the Missouri, I don't believe they could. Or I don't believe we could. So I say miss, stay alive. Because the Missouri needs to live here. He does have a heal, which is good. But of course the American heals are not amazing. We get a fire and an incapacitation on the Z46, which is the steering. He'll probably put that out immediately. The rune's on low health. He did fire at the Chung Mu because I think he realized he also needs to help, kill something in order for them to win at this point. And I hit the rune with HE for no damage. They both shattered. I think I hit a gun turret with it. There's some torps from the Z46. They were aimed for the Missouri. I started turning in. I failed to realize that the Z46 torpedoes aren't that long of range, and we get the rune right there, right at the end. So that puts us at 145,533 damage, 4 kills, and then we got 2 solo caps and 1 assisted cap. We helped cap basically every ring. We didn't cap the middle ring, but we recapped we didn't cap the center ring. We recapped the middle ring. Our Chung Mu, as well as he did play, is not realizing that his torpedoes do not do anything against destroyers. And I give a +1 to our Missouri, as him staying alive here really did help in the late game, not risking his life super early. I did message Admiral Nimitz after the battle saying that if he would have actually helped out as a destroyer instead of trying to do damage against those ships, we might have had a better chance of winning without the efforts of the last 3 of us, because that was a carry from the remaining 3 people on the team. So like I said, 145,000 damage, 127 hits, 4 kills with 6 fires, 3 citadels, 2 solo captures, and 1 assisted capture. And a little bit of spotting there, too. We only got a Confederate medal for that battle. We came top of the team, 2,600 base XP, 4 kills. Admiral Nimitz did finish 4th on the team, but you gotta remember, he died so early and basically YOLO charged. I can't forgive something like that. It's like, yeah, you punched above your weight, but you died for it. So is it really worth it? Not really, in my opinion. That might be just my opinion. You might not share that. Our Drake also ended up getting a compliment from me because he played very well. He unfortunately died, and he might have actually did better than me if he was still alive. At the end of here's the detailed report. We got 35,000 damage against the FDG, 25,000 against the Lion. Both of those were kills. We got 22,000 against the Ibuki for a kill. And the Rune, we did about 17,000, 18,000 and got a kill on him. Whereas we did a little bit okay damage to the Iowa and the Neptune. We only had a potential damage received of 639,000, so I played it a little bit more passively. We apparently have fires caused upon your spotting too, and then 40,000 in spot damage basically. We only did 3,000 damage from our fires. We did 90,000 damage from armor piercing and 51,000 from our high explosive. So there's there is a thought that you could put the high explosive damage skill on your captain for your Alaska, and you do very well. I don't really want to do that. I like my detection. I like to be able to be a little sneaky, but that might just be me. Alaska, of course, is a premium ship, so 1.9 million received from this battle after all said and done with the modifiers I had active. 23,000 or almost 24,000 free XP, 27,000 regular XP, and 65,000, almost 66,000 commander XP. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. If so, it would be much appreciated, and I'll catch you guys most definitely on the next one. Peace out.
Shut up and sit down.